Okay, everybody wanted a part two and wanted me to finish out this particular recording. I think the juicier bits are probably from the first half, but to finish, round out what she was saying, give it a complete discussion, a complete review, I'm going to do part two. There's some interesting things that come out of part two. Probably not as salacious as part one, because I think as she got into the interview, she kind of calmed down a bit. But there still is some interesting tidbits we can kind of tease out on part two. So we're going to bring her up, and we're going to get into the second half.
Come in, we're all alone. Like, we're by ourselves, and we stay by ourselves.
So let me ask you this, because you just made a statement that I know is going to raise the eyebrows. Motherfuckers gonna be like, what the hell? Why you moving to Africa if you want to create a little America in it or whatever? Now,
I agree.
There's no white people.
Giving this little caveat, I also agree that it's important to have our own communities where we band together. I think there's power in numbers.
That's true.
And it's important to be around each other and to be able to support each other.
I agree.
Think
absolutely
that is probably the single most important thing for us to do in Ghana. And
absolutely
we have I think we will
never be accepted here as we would never be accepted here as Africans. They do not give a fuck about our past. They say slavery happened a long time ago. Get over it. I've heard so many Ghanaians say that. They don't care. We're essentially...
Americans say the same thing. Okay. Americans in the United States, Black Americans that are on the conservative side, said the same thing. Okay. So if we say it and we hear, we have lived through the experience, why do you think that other people can't see the same thing, right?
You know, they talk shit about you in your face in their language, and you can't understand their language.
Yeah.
It's just...
Why don't you try learning their language? You know, because just like Spanish people come here and other people come to the United States, what's the first thing they have to do? They have to learn English. Americans are so arrogant. They think that everybody is supposed to assimilate to them. Everybody's supposed to kind of access to them. In other words, and I've heard this on the workplace when you see other people talk Spanish. You know, we can't understand it. We don't like what you're talking about because we can't understand you. Learn the language in the land that you're in. That's what you're supposed to do when you become an expat. They got schools. Pay somebody to teach you the language.
The reality of it.
What I would like to, I guess, understand from our own people is, what is it, and like, why can't we seem to understand that there's a way to, I guess, kind of do both? Because at the end of the day, you can't be in somebody's country and not at least partially assimilate. You have to.
Facts.
That's kind of it's kind of like the whole go along to get along type of shit that we have to do here. But even with that, we didn't come there. We have our own culture. We have our own
and that
way of being, and some of us
we love and appreciate.
Right, and some of us tend to come there with this idea that we don't have a culture and we don't have. I don't agree with that. I feel like I have a very strong culture, and
everybody's biting off of it. Everybody in the world, even
Exactly.
Ghanaian men and women here, they act like us, speak like us,
exactly. And
but we don't have our
even
own
though
culture.
even though like with you and I, you're from the south side of Chicago, I'm from South Florida, but I totally get you. I totally get what you're saying. I totally feel you. I understand the pain. I understand where you're coming from. I know that you're not coming from a malicious place. I know that you're coming from a place like, I thought I was coming to the promised land, but it really ain't what I thought it was going to be.
You know, that's the funny thing, because women women do this all the time, but especially black women especially do this all the time, because somebody sells them a dream and they see guys go over there, do it and adapt and be happy. They think there's not going to be any challenges, and they think they're supposed to be able to transplant their life that's here over there. Especially black women. Black women are so used to our culture and our society basically kissing their ass. And when they go to a place where it doesn't kiss their ass, you can see the frustration. That's why come they want to, they're the ones that want to form their own enclave. And I would believe that most of the people that say that they want to go and mix in, and they didn't come here to actually become part of, carry American culture with them. I've heard that from most of the guys. Okay, women really do want to carry their culture with them, because women nest in the culture. But continuing.
And I think that most people, while I believe moving out of America is the best option, I think we need to be real about what moving out of America looks like, and how to maximize our experience in moving out of America. Which is why for me, like, when I'll be coming to Ghana soon, I'm already thinking about, okay, I need to see, it's certain people that I know I have to make contact with who are from my community. Every single time I'm in Ghana, I have to see them. That's my community there. And I think it's important that we, because all of us not gonna get along, because Black people from America are not on a lift, and most of us, there's several sectors of us that's in Ghana right now. So I feel like it's important to find your tribe. Find your tribe. And like, my tribe consists of people who, they may not completely think like me, but we on the same thing.
Most Black people are. Black people are. And most people are. Even most Americans are, because I've been overseas, right? And I've been out there. And guess what? I don't care what color the person be, because I was, when I was in Central America, okay? There's very few Black people there, right? But you see an American, and you walk around with American, and you kind of all kind of band together, because you understand each other. And people from the United States that are American, that have the same culture, you kind of stick to each other. You kind of talk to each other. You kind of trust each other. You kind of get in communication with each other, right? You're gonna naturally start forming enclaves around each other if there's enough of you. And I think Black people will eventually. It's much easier when the people that you're around don't look like you. Okay, much easier. But I think what they're saying is probably going to happen. But I think, like I said, I think women especially need others more than men do. Men can, a guy can go out in the middle of Ghana and whatnot, and he's going to struggle. He's going to have challenges. But the thing is, shout out to Cerulean. He said that men were built to oppose the environment. Okay, women were actually built to nest in it. These women want to nest in it, and most of the people I find out are actually happiest in Ghana are normally men. Continuing,
we understand things the same way. It's like, okay, my life in Ghana is not perfect, but it is much better than what it is in America. And first of all, let me take my hat off to you for even being able to do this, because I know for sure that being in Ghana is not an easy task.
Yeah.
And I was there with a Ghanaian. I'm married to a Ghanaian man. And it's still just not an easy task, because so many.
It's very stressful.
It can be very, very stressful, especially when many times you find yourself in a situation where everybody around you're around a whole bunch of people, but you feel so alone because everybody's speaking another language. You don't know what the hell going on. You kind of like,
they have different types of sense of humor. They have different
the sense of humor is totally different from ours.
Yeah.
I've seen, we laugh we don't give a fuck. If it's funny, we laugh.
Yeah.
Like my cousin sent me this video where this young man, he pushed his grandmother out in a wheelchair.
I see that.
Driveway, and he was like, "I'll be right back." And the wheelchair started rolling down the driveway. Yeah. And he go running after and I was in tears. I was in tears laughing at that shit. And I showed it to my husband, and he was like, "Oh, okay." I'm like, you don't see why this is so funny? Like, you don't see how she hit the grass and then she fell over, and you don't see how he was taking off running so fast trying to catch her, but he couldn't. I'm like, you don't see? And he was like, no. And I've been married to this man for over 10 years now. So
married from over 10 years, and she still doesn't understand him because she's never taken the time to understand him. And that is, I think, it's a female trait, but I think especially it's a black female trait. Been married to the man for 10 years and you can't understand how come he doesn't see why that particular segment, that particular video is not going to be funny to him, because you don't understand him. And I think that's why women, I can't say women, black women have a hard time assimilating, because black people, like it or not, in America have been so anti-assimilationist, right? We don't know how, because even after integration, right, we still resist assimilation. So, especially the women, they resist assimilation because if you look at it, interracial marriage, all that kind of stuff, right? It's mostly the black women that are against it. They don't want to assimilate, okay? Or they resist assimilation. So even though I shout out to these sisters traveling across the globe to be in another place, that anti-assimilation mindset, which may or may not work for you in the United States, doesn't bode well in a place like Ghana, a place like Africa, where you're a small group and you have to be able to mix in to have a comfortable life. And you can hear it. They're not understanding, not seeking out how to understand the group that they're trying to be absorbed by. Like I said, you're married to a Ghanaian man for 10 years. You should learn the language. If you're going to be intelligent about it, you should learn the language. The first thing a man does when he goes to a different country like Brazil or Latin America, first thing he's going to try to do is be able to communicate. Well, because he wants to match to the local women, but he's going to try to communicate with them. He's going to learn the language. These young ladies have said everything except what? Why don't we try learning the language? We don't know what they're saying. What's the first thing we do? Try to get somebody to teach you the language. And the woman on the left, she's married to a man, to a Ghanaian. You don't know the language? Continuing.
I mean, some of this stuff we're not going to ever gel on. And that's okay. But some kind of way, we're gonna have to find a way to live live amongst the damn people, and be okay.
And even if so, for me, I see the other expats as my extended family. I don't like everybody in my family, but I'm gonna patronize their businesses. Like, I'm gonna go and support them any way I'm able to. Like, I can't stand being around some of my family members, but I'm gonna support them. So that's how I see it. Like, we don't have to like each other to be a community. That's how I see
totally
it.
agree.
Like, I would, like, I've been to a Ghanaian hospital here. Not my thing. I keep saying this over and over jokingly. I would rather die than go to another hospital in Ghana. So, like, we need, like, hospitals. We need, dentists.
We have,
we need, just stuff like that. Like, we need our own little community here. And it's imperative at this point because there's more and more coming every year. Every year is more and more coming. And they're all coming with this dream of Ghana. I remember
most of the people that have this dream of Ghana, that kind of dream, mostly women, okay, idealize state of being, okay. Women do that all the time, right? Whatever dream or idea gets implanted in the brain, that's the way to see the world, okay, until the reality catches up with them. And that's what's happening. It's, my God, it's a third world country. Hospitals or doctors, hospitals are something that you're going to have to put up with unless you're going to come back to the States. Okay, unless you're going to come back to the States, things don't work. Well, I think she's only been there a year and a half. So, you have to give her some kind of grace. Continuing.
My homegirls from college came and their sister was patronizing this Ghanaian guy. The prices he charged them was so out of pocket. And it's so typical of a Ghanaian to overcharge, but they didn't see it because they're like, this is Ghana. These are my brothers, da, 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 da. And it's like, how you gonna pay more for Airbnb in Ghana than you would pay in America? That don't make no sense. But she didn't see it because,
How come you didn't set things up for her? You're there. How come you didn't hook a sister up? How come you didn't do the legwork for her? And I know she didn't see it, but how come you didn't do the legwork for her? That's what you're there for. But continuing.
This is her brother, and this is Ghana, and this is Africa. And that's just the mentality we have. Like, we're so trusting, and we're so, just, it's just needed at this point. Like, it's needed for us to form a community.
Let me ask you this. What has your experience been with the other repatriates from here or from the UK or from Canada? The black repatriate or the black foreigners. What has that experience been like?
They really, like, my bread and butter. I don't even know how to explain it. Like, they are the reason why I'm still sane. I remember for the first time I came here, I didn't really get in touch with anybody for maybe 6-7 months. And I just felt so alone. And I think it was probably one of the most depressing times of my life because I felt so like no one got a joke. I can't laugh at a joke because I don't understand the language, and it was just, I think we talked about this, like, where I was just so utterly alone and no one understood what I was going through. I felt like I was going crazy when I noticed, like, the lack of common sense or the slowness in the people. Like, I felt like I was going crazy and I felt guilty for judging Ghanaians and all that. And it wasn't until I ran into other expats and they had the exact same experiences where I felt validated and I felt like, oh my God, I'm sane, I can breathe. Like, so yeah, just the other day, a homegirl came over and she helped me cook a meal and we just chit-chatted and talked about, just regular stuff. And we take that for granted because it's everywhere in the States. We can go to a grocery store and run into some black woman and we be like, yeah, look at you, I think you should get them pears right there. Da, da, da. It's just like interacting with other human beings is so taken for granted, especially black people. Like, you can be in a store, you can be in a room full of white people and there's one other black person and you look across the room and y'all know what each other's thinking. Y'all just kind of giggle. Like, yeah, that's rare. And so yeah.
Now they're getting to, that's one thing that when you go abroad and you're outside of your environment, you really begin to realize how your culture impacts you and how unique your culture is. Because here in the United States, when we're all blended in, we really deny the little subtle things in our culture, right? Because we think that One, we don't have a culture. Two, we don't all think the same, or because we're so focused on the little differences, right? You go abroad, man, the first thing you focus on is the similarities, and then you realize exactly how much alike you are. And black women are starting to realize how much alike they actually are. Even these two, right? Even though she's married to a Ghanaian, they're from two different parts of the country. You listen to them, they sound like their next door neighbors. That's how similar the black female culture is, especially black female culture. And maybe, videos like this will help actually get in touch and identify and show exactly how pervasive black culture is and black female culture is, right? You'll start to see, because women depend on culture much more than men do. Men are far more adaptable than women are. And black women don't see it. Black women think they can do anything. Black women think they can just jump over the fence and be good. And that's, every other group of women don't think that way. I've seen independent white women come in and, maybe they entitled a little bit, but the first thing they come in, first thing they try to do is learn the language, right? They try to learn the language. They try to learn to fit in. They don't complain about the electricity being off, or they figure out how to get water because they're prepared to be in the environment that they're in. I think a lot of black women are coming over thinking that black men have prepared the way, because really what they're saying is, when they talk about building a community, they're not talking about them building the community. They're talking about black men building the community. Really, they're bitching at black men. How come you haven't built a community for us to nest in? Anyway, continuing.
It's funny that you even mentioned that, because I created my group on the sister repatriation community of Ghana. I created that group because of that exact thing. When I moved to Ghana, my experience was very, very much the same. Even though I moved with my mother, my husband, and I only had 2 children at that time. But I needed my community, and I never realized how much my community meant to me until I didn't have access to my community.
Yeah.
Can the church get an amen? What did I just say? Can the church get an amen? And they're both giving me my amens right now. I think we might need to ship, all the black women overseas, right? And let them stay for 6 months. And then they'll come back, and then they will actually appreciate black men for what they are.
It was, like you said, you take it for granted, like how we can look at each other and we can tell by the body language or the eyes, or you might, something like your face. We could have a whole conversation just with our face, and you don't have that same thing there. And I remember one specific time I was at an expat meet, because my first community in Ghana was the expat community. So it was Lebanese, Chinese, Australian, other Europeans, and all of that kind of stuff, which was really, really hard for me, because that's not what I came there for. But that was the only time that I could have some sense of somebody understand me. But that's how I met some of the other Black Americans that I am now. I've been longtime friends with, and they're like my sisters. But I was at one of those outings, and I remember sitting at a table and listening to a Ghanaian woman and a Ghanaian man, the way they berated Ghanaians in front of those people. It made me sick on my stomach, to the point where, because we have some code of conduct. It's certain conversations we don't have in front of mixed company.
Look at the neck, right? Look at the neck, and look at what she's saying, and see her going into mama. I call it mama mode, right? Because what she really wants to do is get those people told and enforce our code of conduct on them. And so you can see how she was biting her tongue.
And that's just cultural for us. Like, you don't talk shit about other black people in front of, as bad as it might be, you don't talk shit in front of them.
They also do that when sisters misbehave, right? As bad as they might be, you're not going to talk shit about your sisters in front of black men. That's like that is also how they cover up their wrongdoings, and that's also how things don't get fixed in the black community. That right there. But continuing.
That's between us.
See?
Like, for instance, I wouldn't, as much as I don't like Candace Owens, I never sit in front of them people and talk shit about that girl.
See?
Because even though I don't like her,
yep,
that's still one of my little people. She is who she is, but that's my people.
See?
So I'm saying that to say, like, I feel like it's really important. It's more important for us to find each other and create that little tribe of people so that you can have those times for familiarity, and y'all can sit and eat some food that y'all understand, or you're not looking at me crazy because I'm saying I'm craving a cheeseburger or some shit like that, or I'm craving some collard greens and macaroni and cheese. You get it. So have you been able to, at this point, have you been able to create some of this? I know you said you had a girlfriend come over recently. So have you been able to start like meeting some of your people there?
Absolutely. I've met, I have friends from Canada, from the UK, and it's great. Like they react the same way I react, and it makes me feel less alone. Like I went out to eat with my sis from the UK, and she she had a reaction that I would have when I first came here, and I'm talking her through, like, just calm down, it's okay. She's like, no, the Ghanaian women, they should know. Well, because we went to a restaurant and the waiters, they didn't know anything about the food, they didn't know anything about it was, no, she should know. I was like, listen, that's just the culture. Like the women, they're not really, motivated to know things that they're not being told explicitly, like, it's okay. So, no, she works here, she should know about the menu, she should be able to tell me. I was like, no, honey, don't expect that here, please. This is Ghana. Like, just chill out.
Yep, first world. But that shows you this European influence, right? That woman's from the UK, a black one from the UK, and see how they react. So this is descendants of slave culture, not necessarily ADOS culture, but thing is, some things cross over, some things don't. But the ones from the UK, they're descendants of slaves, probably from the islands. She didn't say exactly where she's from, but I bet she's from like Jamaica or some kind of from the island somewhere. So it is really interesting.
If you find it, be happy, but don't expect. So
yeah, it just.
So with that being said,
and she spent the whole like half an hour preaching to the girls and then talking to the boss of the girls. I'm like, sis, don't do that. Like, okay, just calm down.
Yep, it's black feminist mindset, that superiority. That's what got Art Cathy in trouble in Gambia. If you can't rock with a place, you can't be in a place unless you really have a lot of jack to actually change things. Gotta love our people.
But that was me. When I first came here, I was like, this is the minimum. They should know what they're selling. Like, but
you already know that's not gonna happen. But considering you, okay, you're there. You've been there for a year. How do you see your future in Ghana?
Honestly, I see my life here is just like serving time. Like, I'm just waiting till my son turns 18. Like,
and there it is. She don't belong there, and I think she knows it. Well, to thine own self be true.
Seriously, I'm not excited to return to America. Like at this time, I would not even go back to America for a funeral, for a wedding, I don't care. Like I don't want to go back to America. But once my son turns 18, I'm going back. Like I cannot stay here. I cannot stay here. I feel like I'm losing like parts of myself. Like I'm becoming more pessimistic. I'm becoming more I don't know. I feel like I'm losing when I first came here, I was heavy on the spiritual practices, like heavy into spirit and healing, self-healing and all that stuff. And I've been sick so many times here. I've just kind of given up like a lot of the practices that I used to practice. And I think it's because I had a community of like-minded people around me. Just energetically, it was easy to keep that up. And I miss that part of myself. I miss that part of us, my culture. Like I just miss Black people, honestly. So like I do want to return. When I first came here, I said I'm never coming back. I'm never going back to the States. But I do want to return to the States because my people are there.
So let me ask you, would you be willing to try another country?
I miss my people. That's the thing.
Like communities where people, like because there are large groups of our people moving to different places. Like there's a little town.
I thought this was the largest group. Mexico?
Yeah, there's a lot of us moving into Mexico. There's a lot of us moving into Cali, Colombia. Then when you look on the east side of Africa, there's Tanzania and
I thought this was the largest group of African Americans.
No, it's definitely by far. I believe it's definitely the largest group. But large don't mean great.
Yeah,
it is the largest group on the continent. Okay, it's not the largest group. I think Mexico probably does have a larger Black expat group to overall. I think that would be the case. I don't know how many are in the Philippines. There's a large Black enclave in the Philippines too. Brazil, a little bit, but I think as far as continent, Ghana is the largest Black enclave, probably on the continent. I'm pretty sure. So they're right about that.
I miss the community that I came from, like the artist community, because like a lot of the expats here, they're not artists, they're business people. They business minded and stuff. I'm not a business minded person. I'm more artistic and spiritual and all that. So I just honestly miss my community. Like I miss
it's fair
being around other artists. I miss being around people whose main goal in life is to fucking heal from ancestral, intergenerational, and childhood trauma. Like that's my shit. I hate this money talk. Like, and it's mainly from Ghanaians, but it's a lot of times it's also from expats. Like they're all about making money here, and I get it. I understand it, and I'm luckily I'm at a place right now where I don't have to worry about money. But even when I wasn't really all about money. Like that wasn't like my main goal. So I don't know. I just miss my people. I energetically, I feel like I'm really sensitive to energy, and energetically, I really miss my community in Minnesota. The artist community is top tier.
Women have a really hard time being they think they're individuals, right? They always claim that I'm strong, independent. They're really not. Women really need a community to mix in. They really do. More men. I've seen men go to live in places, man. I was in Guatemala. This Black dude, man, 6'6", man, big motherfucker, right? And he is so independent. He walks through the town, does what he does, don't speak to nobody. He does what he does. He probably got his own, friends. But the thing is that the women are not built for this, man. And Black women think they are because Black women think that because they can do it here in the United States, they don't realize how vulnerable they actually are to not having a community. And this is what they're telling you.
Here, we are so blessed and loved and protected by each other, like in Minnesota, in Minneapolis, in the Twin Cities more specifically. Like that's what sparked the whole George Floyd worldwide protest.
Yeah,
it's us. us,
Absolutely.
and I miss us. Like, I love us so much. So
I totally understand. So, do you have any plans to visit before your son turns 18? Because he got like
nah.
5 years.
Yeah, I'm not excited to see white people, man. I tell you that much. But like, when my time is up here, I do want to, go back for good and just be around my people. But like, I miss my people. I would love to visit, but I don't think I'm ready yet. I don't think I've healed from all that happened in 2020. Like, I was in the thick of it. And from my apartment was maybe a few miles from where he got murdered at. 1 mile from where it was the heavy riots where they burnt down a whole building and everybody got pepper spray and stuff like that. That was pretty traumatizing. So, I'm gonna give it some time. I'm gonna, do my little healing over here and all that good stuff. But I don't plan on visiting. But at the same time, I do miss them. But
so help people understand how, because I think that happens with a lot of us. Like, we have. Because you're at the point in living in Ghana where I was just telling a friend of mine, like, you go through a time period where it's like you try to convince yourself that, it's not that bad, or maybe it's just me being an American. Then you go through a really tough period where it's just like, oh my God, I can't stand it. I hate it. And then I know for me, after I went through that portion of it, and I got over that, then it was like, you know what? It's not as bad as I thought it was. Maybe I was just a little hypersensitive or whatever the case may be. I don't know. But
I didn't know you can get there because I'm still in it. I hated it.
Oh, baby. Let me tell you. Okay. So there was a point when I was living in Ghana that I assaulted somebody. Like,
oh wow.
Oh yeah, a man. Like, before I knew, like, I kind of like lost it. Before I knew it, he ran up in my face and I mushed him and he fell and I was ready. Like, I was ready to.
Yep.
And that's happened. I love it. It's happened a few times because those American instincts kick in and you're like, bitch, don't run up on me. See, there it is.
Don't run up on me.
You might beat my ass. You might beat my ass, but you gonna feel me. You gonna feel me. So you moved to Ghana.
See, there it is. There it is. You're gonna feel me. That's what she said. You're gonna feel me. That's the Black American woman way. It is what it is. That is so rich. Kind of took us back, so I gotta find out where we were. So I'll edit this out.
You gonna feel me. I had several situations where that was the case. Then I had to tell myself, okay, girl, you're gonna give yourself a damn heart attack. Like, you can't.
Yeah, that's how I feel like now. I'm gonna literally give myself a heart attack.
You can't. And once I got to that place, I really had to have a conversation with myself. Like, okay, I weighed my pros and my cons. And as the question that I was getting ready to ask you is, as bad as it feels right now, you still don't feel like I at least need to go to America for a visit.
Two of the lesser evils, like, you know, I step off the airplane, I'm scared I'm gonna get shot in the airport.
That part.
I'm scared I'm gonna get shot by some crazy white person, or just the idea, not even the idea, the vibe of knowing that they don't want you to exist. They don't want you. That feeling is, I just can't handle that shit right now. I can deal with all this other shit. I literally got physically assaulted last week. I can still deal with that shit more so than I can deal with that. Like, where the majority of the people in the whole ass country don't want you to exist, and they hate you and they mad at you for existing.
And
like,
that is the point. That is the point that I was wanted you to make, is that as much complaints and as frustrating as it is right now, it's not something that you're willing to be like, okay, I'm going back to America right now.
Yeah, and I got hella complaints. This ain't even all of the complaints I got.
I know. Baby, I know.
I'm at the point where
It's all nitpicking. But one thing she did say, okay, one thing she just said, it's not enough to get her ass on the plane and go back home. It's not enough to get her ass on the plane and go back home. She could go back home and teach. She could go back to Minnesota where it's cold and pick up her life, okay? So all that bullshit that she's talking is mostly caused by her. Because if it was that bad, she felt that she was in that much danger, she could go back to where she was. And either way, basically, you're still the most safest group of women on the planet. Guaranteed. She would not go down to southern Mexico talking that shit. She would get disappeared. She would not go down talking in Brazil talking that shit. She gets slapped. Now, all that shit that they're talking, that's why they can get away with it in Ghana. They know they can get away with it in Ghana. Them sisters cannot go to Latin America and try that shit, because that mush and them knocking them down trying to beat somebody up, that dude got up and beat the tar out of her. She knows she can't get away with that. Only in the West, right? Only in the West, and that's why they pick Ghana. They know that nothing's gonna happen to them in Ghana. They talking all that shit, I don't feel safe. Bullshit. If women that don't feel safe and unprotected, do not jump up and try to fight other men, because it's not, you're gonna beat my ass. I might not exist. And trust and believe, man, if the Ghanaians really want to get at it, they can get at it, because that's when the machetes will come out, because they do carry machetes in that culture.
Literally can't stand it here. I hate it. I fucking hate it. But I'm not going back.
Shut the fuck up. You don't hate it. You can't stand it, because that was the case. You have your ass on the plane. Shut the fuck up. I'm gonna say it right there. Shut the fuck up and stop complaining. White women, sisters, man. So, this is a lesson to you, right? All the shit that they talk, right? All the mess that they talk, all the complaints that they have, they ain't going nowhere. This young lady, she ain't going nowhere. She could easily go back to the States. She's in America. She go back to the States. Why she ain't going? Because she knows that Ghana is the safest place, one of the safest countries in the world. And the shit that could happen in America, like getting shot in the airport or something like that, it's not going to happen there. They know their hood instincts, and they're mushing a guy, run up in the guy's face, fighting a man. That comes because they're with men in America that'll let them get away with that shit. They're not stupid. Women are not crazy. They're not stupid. As much shit as they talk, they're not crazy. They know. Anyhow, continue. I'm going to finish this up.
The crazy part about that is that I know exactly how you feel. Because for me, it was a whole different type of thing, because it happened for me a little faster, because I was married to a Ghanaian, so I kind of got thrusted into being in a Ghanaian family and all of, and it was just like, I'm talking about like me having to be in my house, like, this is my motherfucking house. Like,
there we go.
Like
there we go.
It got really bad. But once I laid down certain ground rules, and it was like, hey, this is,
you have to do that.
When you come into this gate, this how it work up in here. Once I got
they don't know boundaries really.
Part down. Once I set certain boundaries, things began to, and then I told myself, like, hey, you will give yourself a heart attack, and these people will still be moving slow. They ain't gonna be in no rush. It's you getting upset is not gonna make them move any faster. It's not gonna make them do anything. So I had to find myself like, okay, I don't want to go back to America. So how do I
adapt,
stay without giving myself a massive heart attack?
It means you have to change.
Heart attack or a brain aneurysm. Yeah, I've been like my
So
their anxiety, because they don't want to resist change.
I had 3 chunks of time, and now Now when I come to girl, none of that shit bother me now.
See?
And I'm preparing things so we can come back as a whole family. It's a bunch of us now. I had all these kids. So it's like it's a whole nother thing. But anyway, I'm saying that to say that it's possible that you'll find yourself in a situation where you might be like, okay, this is Ghana. You hear people say that this is Ghana. Like
this is Ghana, yeah.
At some point you just kind of and
try that shit in China.
Like
acceptance.
One of my friends, she's been there for like 10 years. And she's like, there's no way I'm willing to give up my lifestyle here in Ghana to go back to struggling in America. Mm-hmm. She's like, there's no way I'm going to give that up. So whatever boundaries, parameters, whatever I have to do to make this work for me, that's what I'm going to do. Mm-hmm. So I would encourage you to try to find your way over because that shit ain't gonna change. It's not gonna change. It's not gonna change. So
nor should it.
Because the same stuff that you're talking about, my first trip to Ghana was in 2011. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I can tell you that I ain't seen no differences. It ain't
no difference. It won't.
It's just gonna be that way.
Yeah.
It's just like our community here. Like certain places you go here, we know that our people, as much as I love them, we got some folks with their self. They hood ratchet self, and I love me some hood ratchet people. But that mentality a lot of times, too much. So and the same way here we just survive this shit.
Yeah,
it's more survivable than this shit. Because baby, I don't even go to the grocery store. I order. Mm-hmm. I had somebody drop my groceries off. Everything that I need, I had somebody drop it off at the door. Not because I like having it done, but I do it because I don't want to chance going in the store and somebody busting out shooting.
Wow.
Because they had a bad day or because they just don't like the color of all of the people in this store.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Whereas Ghana, you don't have to worry about that. Yeah, it's a trade-off. It's a trade-off. But black one ain't happy nowhere. I think it was Swim Champ. He's in China, and he says, he said that everybody can adapt, everybody can transition, everybody can kind of fit in, except black women. Black women have the hardest time fitting into a foreign culture. They really do. Not all, like I said, not all, but the vast majority of them have a hard time fitting in. Yeah, I think a lot of black women actually headed to Mexico because it's right across the border and they're still attached to the American culture. So even though the people are slower down there, but the thing is they understand because they get the same kind of TV programs and their cousins and their folks are there, come across the border and they kind of semi-assimilated. Get black women into a completely foreign culture, they have a hard time. They really do have a hard time. It just is what it is. Anyway, let's finish this up.
I want to thank you so much. I know that having these kinds of conversations is really difficult because for whatever reason, people are very hostile towards the truth. And the truth is, Ghana is not perfect.
No place is.
Nowhere is. Ghana is not what, for whatever reason, people try to make it out to be.
Yeah, that's weird as hell to me.
it's quite weird. And I feel like people are encouraging folks to come to Ghana under false pretenses.
Yeah.
And then people get there and they shocked. Like, oh, wait, I wasn't expecting this.
You know, it's mostly women that are talk about false pretenses and false promises. Because I've never heard the men do that. The men I see go over there, the men that want to be there, they normally have something going on. They got a business plan, got things planned out. They have, they go over there 3 or 4 times to get things set up. So by the time they get there, they know exactly what they have to do, who they have to talk to, how to fit in, and how to overcome some of those struggles. I think women are, even though she's married to a Ghanaian, okay, I think women have a harder time. Now, I've met some women, some very strong women that knew what the struggle was. I mean, knew what the struggle was when there was no electricity and they had to get, water out of a well, stuff like that. They came over knowing what the struggle is. I think the women coming over there now, they think that because Ghana is in transition, it's not there yet. It's not even supposed to be there. They just got started. And I think they come over expecting that it's going to be just like home. It's going to be the utopia. I think women believe in a utopia. But even at that, after a while, they have to come to a decision. They have to make a trade-off. And they have to grow up. And I think a lot of Black women should go over there or should experience not a couple of weeks in a resort, but really 3, 4, 5 months on the ground, embedded, and go through the frustration. So when they get back to the United States, then they at least know they have a better sense of who they are and what their culture is and what the difference is between where they were and here. And they can make a proper decision.
The goal of this conversation for those who will watch, the goal of this conversation is to give you a better understanding of what the challenges may be. Like, this is not a move. You're not moving from Georgia to California.
Thank you.
Come on now.
From New York to Florida. You're
you.
literally moving from one continent to another continent.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then
it's a whole new world.
Country on that continent that is totally different from the society that we come from. And although we have our Black American identity, we have the American culture as a whole.
Thank you.
And there's a lot of things here that are really good that should possibly be implemented in other places. But we can't expect that. We can't expect that because those things also come with some caveats that we don't like.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So, is there anything that you could say to a Black female one or a Black woman leaving the West, be it America, Canada, Europe? What would you say to them?
First of all, I would say I love you so much. You don't know how
appreciate
amazing and beautiful your spirit, your essence is. I love you so much. Secondly, reach out as soon as you land. Reach out, because you are going to need people that think like you, act like you, and feel like you. Third, don't be discouraged. Don't be discouraged. You deserve to be safe. You deserve to be at peace, and you deserve to be happy. And things will change. Once you get here, it'll change. Like the situation may not necessarily change, but your perspective, your radical acceptance.
Yeah, don't pick up any poles and start fights.
And don't be ashamed. Don't be ashamed of feeling, like you hate this place. Because I'm in that stage now, where I just feel like I freaking hate it here. I feel so bad for judging the whole group of people. But like this is a different world. This is a collective community. It's groupthink is rampant. So, you're not. I don't know what I'm trying to say. You're not way off by judging a whole group of people like you would be in the States or in the West. If that makes any sense.
Yeah. And I want to encourage you, before we go, I think you should continue to reach out to our community, the women in our community. There are some really solid sisters from both America and the UK. I am friends with several women there. I've known them for a very long time. I will say that people they are becoming more guarded because
Absolutely.
Because of experiences that they've had with folks from our homes. Because for some reason we are experiencing people becoming very un-Black American, if you know what I mean, or un-Black Westerner, if that makes sense. Not being on code and not
what you just say about groupthink. Anyhow, let's wrap it up.
Just not. It's like it feels like they want to completely get rid of being from here, which is absolute. I don't get that. I think for women, me being,
and those are mostly men when she says that. Those are mostly men. But anyhow, I think this is a good place to end it right here, and it gives you a kind of peek behind them coming to the realization about who they really are, right? And next time you hear a Black woman say that Black men ain't shit and they hate them and stuff like that, man, show them this, okay? And how lucky they are to have a Black man, to have a Black American man, because there's no other man on the planet like you, okay? And they know it. Sometimes when they get to yakking off at them, I say, shut the fuck up. You got the best man. And the thing is, that mouth is going to lose them, because you can't go nowhere by yourself and have a similar experience. You can't. And you can't. And show them this, because you go someplace else, guess what? The problem is not the Black men. The problem is the Black woman. The problem is not the Black man. The problem is the Black woman and their attitudes. And they, even in this one, they said they had to get over that Black American attitude, right? That Black woman attitude. And once they got over that, like I said, the woman on the left, once she got over that and figured out how she was going to fit in, a lot of that stuff went away. But anywho, that's all I got for this one. This is BGS out. This is part 2. I got another one coming up that I think Dr. Johnson and the PhDs want me to do. So I might do that one, maybe not next, but pretty soon. And continuing, because I think this is important to actually look at how Black American women react when they're not inside their own culture, inside their own little fiefdom we call the gynocracy. Okay, and then, like I said, they're getting a rude awakening. Okay, you see the stress and all the kind of stuff that they go through being outside of the gynocracy, and they'll give you a peek at how much they actually depend on it. But anyway, that's all I got. This is BGS out, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.